Hey everyone, welcome back to Grownkid. I'm Gael.
And I'm Kayla. I lost my voice, you guys. I lost my voice at a wrestling speed dating event, so that's how you know it was a good time. But that being said, I'm gonna be a little bit more silent this episode.
Were you silent or were you silent?
I was silenced. I was silenced. I was definitely silenced. And this is me on a better day too.
That's really
The
good.
day after the event, I was like actually fried.
If you don't know, if you're new here, welcome. We've had a lot of new listeners in the last two episodes, which for some reason we're like, oh, out of all episodes, like, oh, we're talking about like career, job, like AI, like sexuality. No, it's erotically invisible that ends up flowing and getting a ton of views. So I'm glad that was your first impression of us.
I'm also glad that you guys were able to relate to it because sometimes
Yeah.
it feels like it's an isolating topic to feel like, oh, nobody wants me for my body. So I'm glad that you guys like that.
That did feel nice. So thank you for that. I'm glad you also are in agreement that we need more lovers and less situationships. And so it's just banger after banger, it seems. And welcome, thank you, welcome to Grown Kid. This episode is yet another banger because we're talking about the fact that our all events slop now. And we say this as we just hosted wrestling speed dating, which, might either excite you or make you roll your eyes and think it is the most stupid thing ever that can go wrong in so many ways, and people are bound to get hurt and go cry. So, it depends what side of the spectrum you fall on. We just happen to believe that it was a good idea. And wrestling speed dating is just one of the weekly events that we do for our social club. If you're in New York, you can join grownkid.com. And I wrote this Substack article called Are All Events Slop Now, where I talk about how the beastification of content has impacted all aspects of our life, and how we gather is no exception. I think it's a good thing because not only is it taking back control from traditional nightlife gatekeepers like high ticket prices, club bouncers, age restrictions, and putting it back into the hands of the people who are organizing on their own terms, but it also makes it more affordable. And I think it's giving people a sense of adventure that we crave, especially if you grew up, quote unquote, digitally native and you didn't get to play outside as much as other generations. Because I think for us, I don't know about you, Kayla, but I feel like I was born right on the cusp. Well, we were born in the same age. Well, I don't know about you.
Like, fuck me, I guess. I don't know. I'm an old ass.
No, but I do think that for us, and especially my childhood, I got the best of both worlds because when I was a kid and from up until I was 10 years old, video games weren't quite at the level of where they are now. Social media wasn't really happening just yet. The early stages were there, but it hadn't completely taken over, and content wasn't such a attention dopamine hole yet. And so my childhood was spent as an apartment kid who would be running around helping little birds recover from a broken wing. People were smoking weed in the fucking dumpsters. We were playing freeze tag. We were playing cops and robbers. We were running around just in the pool, in the dirt, whatever, right? It was a very outside childhood. I remember making paper planes and throwing 100 at once from the third story. And so it was things like that that I got to grow up with. And it wasn't until fifth grade when I kind of started to go inside a little bit more. And not just me, but the rest of my friends, I think, also started to go inside around that time. And we went from running around outside to playing video games online and playing on the PS3, eventually the PS4. And ever since then, my life just continually went more and more online. And it went into my screen time going up, video games taking over my life, doing nothing else but posting content. That just came at a later time. And I think my sister, who is, 6 years younger, she came of age and was, 10 years old, 8 years old at a time when social media was already really kind of mainstream with Instagram, with Musically, with TikTok. Until by the time that she reached the same age that I was when I was playing outside, she was just simply on the internet already, watching YouTube videos, watching that, sucked into content and all that. And that just continued. And so I think if you take that context in mind and then you see at what's going on now with first, like the way that Mr. Beast and his style of content that's like, I did this for 24 hours and it's some crazy challenge, like some video title that really hooks you right away with their attention, you will start to realize that content as a whole on YouTube has become so clickbaity, but just enough that it's still something you can actually pull off, but it sounds so outrageous. So the thumbnail and the title is what is the golden rule of how to make good content, right? And so as content creators have begun leaning into that formula for how to get views and reach on social media, it has started to seep into the types of events that we host and gather. And by we, I mean not just content creators, but also us as individuals and our communities. That's why, most recently, I think in the past year, you've seen the rise of things like the Timothée Chalamet, like lookalike competition, or heated rivalry lookalike, or come touch grass with me, come watch me eat a whole rotisserie chicken, and come, all like bisexual, toxic bisexual, performative male contest. All of these contests have just repeatedly gone viral and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views and shares because ultimately the reason these things are in such high demand is because it gives, first of all, on the content creator side, it gives content creators a way to feel like they are able to create content that involves their audience. So audiences win, content creators get content, and it's essentially a win-win. Audiences enjoy this because it's cheap, it's free, it's spontaneous, and it comes and goes so quickly that when you do catch it and then you see it all over the internet, it makes you feel like you were a part of something, like that you were there. It's giving you that sense of adventure that you didn't get as a kid. So I think for a lot of us, especially a lot of younger Gen Zs who are drawn to these type of events, the reason for it is because we didn't get to play outside. We've lived on the internet for so long and have spent so many hours on our phone that we are not living life. We are used to just seeing others live life and just consuming that content. So when you see a Timothée Chalamet lookalike competition, when you see a come watch me eat a whole rotisserie chicken, you're like, wait, I don't just have to watch. I can join it too and be there for the moment. And even though it sounds like such a sad reality, that's where we're at. And I do think this is a good thing, though. I think slop events are something that is ultimately beneficial because, for one, on the dance floor, in these traditional nightlife settings, you hear the complaints of no one goes to the club to dance. People are standing still. People are, in a sea of phones, not even like listening to the song. They're just recording it so they can relive the memory later. And that's just how technology goes. It went from concerts having like lighter flames up in the air to like phone lights, and then it went to them recording every bit of it, and then music started to change, and music went from, long drawn out songs, artistically beautiful, to like, okay, who can create the best catchy 8-second hook? And now it's, okay, well, who can create an event that is going to go viral on social media? So events are now being designed to go viral. And in a way, you can say that the thumbnail has kind of just gone into the real world through flyers. You see a good flyer, that's like seeing a good thumbnail on the internet. Again, I think this is a good thing because, yes, there's a lot of people that are sober, they're not drinking, that feel like the club isn't really that fun anymore because no one is dancing. And so they're leaving nightlife, but they still crave that sense of community and their social life to be active and lively, just in a different way. And so slop events kind of fills that need. And so when you take that into account and take the fact that young people want adventure, and then you add in the economy, given that no one can afford a $25 club ticket, plus a $16 drink, plus the Uber, plus this, plus co-check, it's a lot of money for one night. And it's hard to make that pitch when you can just say, well, why don't I just go to something that's at 2 p.m., it's 30 minutes long, it's free, and there's going to be thousands of people there, and I feel like I'm a part of something bigger. It fills a very real need. And I think for that reason, like the rise of slop events has been really good for a lot of people. It's gotten people that might never have gone to a nightlife setting because a nightlife dance floor can be intimidating. And keep in mind, I do believe the dance floor is important. I think we should all go dance more. I think we should all be in community more. But, also kind of acknowledging that it's inaccessible to a lot of people. One, sometimes a lot of these spaces are created exclusively for queer individuals to provide a safe space and community. So sometimes if you're straight, you might not feel welcome, or might not feel like you belong. And so you have to find your people too. And maybe that's in the daytime. And so that's why I say, like, these slop events are something that I personally believe in, and I think we're going to see a lot more of this. And that's honestly part of the reason why Grownkid exists, is solving the issue that slop events leave behind, which is the fact that they don't allow you to form actual community. And what slop events do is they're really great at helping you catch moment. But then, the creators film the content, the people participate for 20 minutes, and then everybody just kind of leaves. That's part of the appeal, that sense of you either catch it or you don't. But at the same time, well, now what? There's not just one individual organizing this. It's just random people putting up flyers and hoping people show up. So there's no centralized figure to say, hey, this is my people. These are my communities. They're just randoms. And so I think that's the main issue with these slop events, is that it's hard to build meaningful connections. And it's really, at times, it can feel like more of a novelty thing, more of a content trap than something actually beneficial for connection and, something that encourages true, genuine connections with people. And so with Grownkid, I think our goal is, how do we create events that feel like, oh, this is crazy, I've never seen this, I wonder what's going to happen, but also offer the consistency for the people that are like, right, but I think I also do want to just be in community with people over and over and over again. So that's my pitch, why slop events are important. Thank you. She says that was great and lovely, and she knows it.
Yes. Yes, I agree with a lot of the points too. And I think when you mention, like events like, oh, come eat rotisserie chicken with me, like come bugging grocery shopping with me, it makes me just think of the commercialization of life as well. Especially, I think about this especially through Twitch streamers. These streamers and content creators are literally, they're not doing anything special besides invading their own privacy in life for, the enjoyment of their viewers and their audience. And I think a part of that is because people are just so lonely. They just want, how I view it, is an escape from their own lives. And so they start watching somebody else's play out in front of them. And if they feel like they can actually enter into this creator's life in a way that's beyond just behind a screen, it makes it feel, the connection to this creator, a lot more meaningful. Yeah, I just think, I think another part too is like, it's ignorant and naive to think that events are not taking into account what's going on in the online world. I think when it comes to like Timothée Chalamet, or like especially Heated Rivalry, oh my gosh, that like went so viral and popular. You have to bring the elements of what is making people talk online into the real world. And I think sometimes event organizers can overlook that fact too, that like both of these worlds exist, and it's ignorant to think that, oh, you can't create events that are completely removed and detached from digitally online people, but it makes it a lot harder for those that are involved, on social media or just are online, as most people are. So I think when you combine those two elements of online and in real life, everything becomes a lot more fulfilling and a lot more culturally aligned.
Yeah, because it was so funny because a few years back, I remember just thinking about Let's Plays, and I was like, something about Let's Plays is so interesting to me because it's so comforting. And I was like, wow, I really miss the feeling of being a kid and watching a Let's Play, like a Minecraft Let's Play. I'm just sitting in my computer for hours just watching someone play this video game. And I was like, I wonder what would the modern version, the in real life version of that look like? Like, what is the modern like Minecraft Let's Play? And then I realized, like, yeah, that's just streaming. That's the appeal of streamers, especially the rise of these in real life streamers, is you're watching a video game Let's Play. It doesn't feel like real life. You're watching these characters. And that is so interesting to me, that has taken on such a large role in life, is just always on, always watching, always there. And the big thing to watch out for is people don't just want to watch, they want to join. And I think that's something we're going to see a lot more of, is people want to join these events. And with Grownkid, like, we have a shit ton of just really weird sounding events. We have wrestling speed dating, where you wrestle to find your date. You ask someone out, you wrestle with them, and if you like how they fell on top of you, that's your date. We have Yearn Laban, intentional listening for songs and the memories we attach to them. You know, we all have songs that we're like, oh, this reminds me of this moment in my life. So why not have a space to share that? We have entry level job where we're literally giving people entry level jobs because no one else wants to do it. So we might as well just make jobs up and then have them put it on the resume because yeah, like skills like these are actual experience that you can do and you just have to know the language to put them and use them effectively. Our douching sermon where we're talking about douching, but it's actually like a PSA about adequate fiber intake. Like these are all events that I think what makes a good event is when it has depth. Not every event has to be that. There is a need for just events that are just fun, right? That's useful. But I think when you combine the anxieties that young people are feeling and you're able to satisfy their need to feel safe and comforted in a fun way, it just makes it that much more impactful. And so that's kind of the goal with Grownkid. And wrestling speed dating honestly went so great. I was surprised how much people loved it and how deeply involved people were. Like people were hype, you know, like they were wrestling. They were like, yeah, they were wrestling. They were slamming each other, like a little scary, but also like it shows that people wanted permission. People want to get permission to connect again. You know, we don't want to just be like, okay, like I should just not do anything. The thing is, we just don't know how to ask for it. And so I think if we teach each other how to do it, it would be even better. But that's a whole nother ramble.
I also think too that like one thing I do like about this whole wave of events is just the uniqueness that comes out. You know, it's like you're not getting your paint and sip anymore. You're not just getting your drinks at a bar anymore. It's like you're getting wrestling speed dating instead of just like a traditional like version of that. And so that's one thing that I do really, really enjoy seeing, not just from ourselves, but also just from other event organizers, seeing that people are pushing the boundaries of creativity when it comes to hosting events and finding more unique and more fulfilling ways to have people gather. I think is very interesting. It's really nice to see that it's pushing what is expected and creating a new standard that I think we're definitely living up to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it's a short one just because please spare Kayla's voice. God, it's okay.
You guys. Yeah, but if I see you in real life, this will be fixed by then, I hope. Pray for me. I'm drinking my teas.
True. Anyways, if you're in New York, come join us. Don't just watch. Like I said, come join if you're 18 to 24, grownkid.com. And if you're new, thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you stick around. And okay, guys, we will see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.